We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. It is Tuesday when you hear this on the podcast, but we are doing a TikTok live on Monday night. We do this sometimes. We do a TikTok live and then I use it as the podcast. Kind of because I'm a lazy bastard, but more importantly, I like the way these TikTok lives go. We get a lot of people in on the conversation. We get regular people on the panel. We get people from the audience being able to express their perspectives or ask questions or whatever. So I always look forward to doing the TikTok lives, and we're starting to get people in the house, as it were. And we got so much stupid shit to talk about. Jesus Christ. I got to tell you, the Trumplefucks are really starting to flail now. They're having all kinds of problems, and we're going to talk about that. And of course, we'll have our regular guests coming in. I don't see TJ yet. I wonder if he thinks that we were going on at 9:30 my time in Minnesota. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. We've got. I'm on the East Coast right now. I'm in Georgia. So I don't know if TJ will join us or not now. We're going to go, we're going to raw dog this thing if we have to, all right? We're going to raw dog this thing. And if we see some Trumplefucks out there, there are no doubt some other people out there that can do the moderation too that I've assigned to it. So anyway, we've got a lot of things to talk about today, and we're going to bring some people in. And I want to encourage you, if you are in the audience and you have questions or comments or want to be on this live, you're more than welcome to do it. In fact, I encourage you to do it because it will be something that's that makes things more interesting and will also make life a lot easier for me, to be honest with you. I'm seeing some Trumplefucks out there. I'll do some blocking on my own, but that's all right. So anyway, what we have is a situation where we had Trumplefucks talking about their conspiracy theories and all their crazy shit. You know, they're out there and they're talking about this Jeffrey Epstein file and whether or not he unalived himself. Now, prior to the election, all these Republicans were going batshit crazy about this. Of course he didn't unalive himself. It was the Democrats. And we got to get that list, that client list for Jeffrey Epstein, because we know there's a bunch of Democrats on it. People like Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. We've got Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States of America. They were all talking about it. Oh, it's crazy. We're going to expose all these Democrats. So when it came down to it, they get into office. They get into the position where they can reveal this stuff. And guess what? They changed their minds. They changed their minds about whether they should release that. And not only that, these people who were so wild about these conspiracy theories, now all of a sudden, they're saying they're not true. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. They come out 1 and 2 in the FBI. They were just aching to get in the FBI to release these things. That's what they were doing. And guess what? Now they're there and they're saying, nah, it looks like Epstein has unalived himself at this point. So there's nothing to see here. Then they start asking about the client list. And when they came into office, they said, oh, we're going to release that just a matter of time. Now, Donald Trump didn't particularly like it. He didn't like the idea that the list would be released, and that's a good point. And so, so they get into office, and Donald Trump says, yeah, I don't want that released. But then Elon Musk comes out. He's mad at Donald Trump and said, Donald Trump doesn't want it released because he's on the list. Well, yeah, we know that. We know he showed up 7 times on the flight log, so he clearly was a friend and a client of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the thing about it is when they were talking to Pam Bondi a few months ago, and they said, listen, when are you going to release Jeffrey Epstein's client list? She said, well, I have it sitting on my desk. We have it sitting on my desk. I got to go through a lot. It's a big file, and we've got to go through this stuff all the way through. We've got to figure it out. And so she said she had the list, and she was going through it. But today, the DOJ comes out and says, shit, there's no list. And this doesn't surprise people like us, we Democrats or liberal type folks. We figured they'd try to hide it because they knew Donald Trump showed up. But here's something else you've got to consider about that list. It's not just Donald Trump that doesn't want this list out. There's a lot of very powerful, very wealthy people on this list. A lot of them are out there. And so there's a lot of pressure from a lot of wealthy people, a lot of people that are in power, and they don't want this released too. So the pressure is on the DOJ from those folks, from Donald Trump. And what are they doing? They're pussing out like they do. I mean, I've said before, they're bullies, but they're actually cowards. Any pushback, and they just fold up and die. Larry Wayne says, why did Biden's DOJ sit on the list and not take Trump down for it? Well, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things I question about the Biden administration and the Democrats in general. There's a lot of things they should have done leading up to this election that would have been very effective. I mean, let's take, for example, Merrick Garland. Joe Biden appoints Merrick Garland to the Attorney General's job. Now, at the time they did that, it was a reasonable pick, and he seemed like a reasonable guy. So I'm not faulting Biden for picking Merrick Garland. But after a year, when Merrick Garland has done nothing toward going after Donald Trump, he should have been fired. Somebody with a little more aggressive nature should have taken that job. Because I'll be perfectly honest with you, had Merrick Garland simply done his fucking job, we wouldn't be here today. Donald Trump would be in prison or at least exiled someplace, and he certainly wouldn't be president of the United States. So you're absolutely right to ask questions about Biden's. Donald Trump calling for a Great Depression. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. John Moore says, I have a question. Well, go ahead. You don't have to ask me if you can ask a question. I already told you can ask questions. If you want to come on the live, you can do that too, but you've got to request to come on. And I've got nobody requesting to come on as yet. Some of the viewers like Trucker T and Oliver's mom, if you're out there and want to come on, let me know. I think TJ may have thought I was going to go an hour later because he didn't remember I was on the East Coast. So anyway, we're just going raw dog here, and we're just going to, I know that's the wrong term, but you know me, I say shit. Both parties are money hungry and all this other stuff. You're absolutely right. We have a big problem with the Republican Party. It is a fucking absolute dumpster fire. But the Democrats have their problems too. And part of the reason we're in this situation is because of the Democrats and their not being assertive or not doing what they're supposed to do. They're just kind of going along to get along. Like the Republicans, there are a lot of Democrats that are getting paid a lot of money, whether it be from AIPAC or some of these other places, and they don't want to make waves. But here's the problem. In that process, they are also not serving us. And let's be honest, we elected them. Their first job is to serve this country and serve us. Also, their first job is to protect us. So you would assume they'd try to do that, but of course they don't. Raven Fan 5220 says, I don't think there is a list that was made up. Yeah, I don't know, Raven Fan. What kind of business was Jeffrey Epstein in? sex trafficking or any of that stuff. No, that's not what the business he was in. He was in the business of blackmail. So there's a list. There's a list someplace. And if there wasn't a list, I don't think Pam Bondi would be so afraid to put that list out. She wouldn't say, "Oh, there's no list." Uh, if there's a list, she would have put it out if it didn't implicate Donald Trump and some other very powerful people. And I'm guessing those powerful people are reaching out to the DOJ too, and they're in the process of, scaring the shit out of the DOJ. Um, Joanne Connor says, "Why didn't Joe Biden add more to the Supreme Court?" Well, Joanne, you can't unless somebody retires or dies or something like that. They were trying to get RGB to retire because she was getting older and she wasn't in the best health. She didn't do that. So then when it came down to it, and it was too close, the Republicans ramrodded their people through. And they pushed around the Democrats, and the Democrats didn't push back. You can't just decide to put somebody on the Supreme Court. There has to be a vacancy, and there was no vacancies when Joe Biden was in. So that's why. Is there any chance the U.S. can get back to normal? Well, I tell you this, it depends on what you call normal. If you call normal the way we were before 2015, no, we're never going to get back to that. And that's not terrible. We're going to get back to a better place. We will get through this as we always do. But what normal will be on the other side will be different than what we know as normal. That said, it may be better. Because of all this corruption and all this criminality, we've got a lot of this that's been going on for decades, but we didn't know about it. Nobody reported on it. So now that it's been exposed because this dipshit Donnie Trump is out there throwing this around, we know it exists. So now we have a chance, when we get the power to do it, to hopefully clean things up. Nikki Rage says, "I want to know how hasn't taken out of power with his blatant disregard for the Constitution." Well, that's easy, Nikki. The reason he isn't taken out of power is because the Republicans are cowardly sycophants that don't want to take him out of power. You have to understand, in the circumstances we are in right now, Republicans are in control. People say, well, the Democrats should impeach him. Can't. We don't have power in the House. It will never reach the floor because Mike Johnson won't do it. 25th Amendment, Democrats can't do it. Republicans have to do it. This is why the midterm elections are so important. Or Donald Trump being so bad and so much of a liability to the Republicans, they throw him out. But that's the only way it's going to happen between now and 2026, is if the Republicans decide to do it. See if anybody else has shown up. Okay, I'm going to bring up Trucker T. Hey, Trucker T, what's happening, man?
Hey, how you doing, Boomer?
I'm flying solo. I talked to TJ about coming on, and I said I'm going to come on at 9:30, and I think he was thinking I'm still in the Midwest, and I'm not. I'm on the East Coast, so
Oh,
so
God.
he may be out of the mix here, and I've already started, so I can't stop and say, "Hey, dude, we're here." So we're just going to kind of go with it and see how it goes. Trucker, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I can tell you what's on my mind. The Alcatraz situation, right? The alligator Alcatraz. You know,
Right, right.
the environmental agency took them to court and they won. So now all of a sudden the DOJ is saying, "Hey, we don't have anything to do with that. That's all Ron DeSantis." Even after he
Right.
went down there for the show, and I don't understand how he could backtrack like that, and especially when we saw him on TV.
Yeah, we saw him on TV. I think he's getting heat for it, so he's trying to back away like he always does. Well, he could say it's Florida's issue, but they used federal FEMA money to build it, so that's bullshit.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, the judge says, "Hey, you can't use FEMA money. You can't. It can't be done by the government unless the governor approves it." Well, I'm pretty
Right.
sure old Ronnie will approve it.
Oh shit, yeah, he'll approve it. They're fucking making T-shirts, and this is like another amusement park for them. Oh, come see the alligator fucking Alcatraz.
He
This
wants to
is,
live stream.
yeah, he wants to live stream it. I mean, like they say, it is about the cruelty, and they prove that to us every time. Um, I, I I don't know what it's going to take for the Republicans to finally see that they've crossed a red line. I mean, for us, Donald Trump and the Republicans have crossed the red line about 4 months ago. I'm a little surprised the Democrats aren't more fired up, and I'm surprised that the Republicans aren't starting to twitch a little.
Well, I'm surprised. You're exactly right. I mean, especially after today, what happened in MacArthur Park. There's no way that should have went down that way with horses and tanks going down the road and scaring.
Well, tell us what happened. I'm down in Georgia, and I wasn't watching the news as close as I can. So explain the scenario because I'm in the dark too.
So there was a huge, when I say huge, hundreds and hundreds of ICE and federal agents that descended upon MacArthur Park in California today, and
Oh Jesus!
they were on horses, they were in tanks. It was just a huge scene, and they didn't detain anyone except for they scared all the children that were in the park. They had to take the kids and hide them in a building. Yeah, Marines were there. I mean, it was insane. I've never seen that in the United States. The mayor, she came out. She was on one of their phones. She made them leave. Allegedly, she made them leave. I'm not sure how they went down. Gavin Newsom has had 5 or 6 press conferences already. It was just a sad sight to see something like that.
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine in Los Angeles earlier today, and she was talking about the shit show that's ensuing in California. And honestly, with what was going on around the ICE detention center, I feel like, and I don't know, I haven't seen video of it. We have National Guard there and Marines there, basically twiddling their thumbs because I haven't heard of anything all that exciting going on. So now they send people to MacArthur Park and trying to start this shit back up. It's unbelievable. Let me ask you this, Trucker T. In this new big bullshit bill, they're going to give 170 billion dollars to ICE, making them the biggest law enforcement agency in the country. Um, how do you think this changes what's going on now? I mean, they've been going on a shoestring for a while, and they ran out of money on June 30th. Does this make everything just even crazier and even more dangerous?
Well, absolutely it does. I mean, hell, ICE has now, if that's numbers are correct, that's more money than most countries' military, right? What they do in a year. So this just gives these guys the power to hire anyone they want. So now,
Right.
$1,000 a bounty, that's a real thing now, and it could be more, right? They could ramp it up to 2,000. Who knows what they
Yeah,
do?
absolutely.
They don't need it. I mean, they're not arresting anybody of substance. 75 to 80% of the ones that they are arresting are women, children, grandparents. They're not even
Right.
asking for ID. They're just rolling up on the road. If they see you, they grab you. Doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. I tell you what, Trucker T, would you do me a favor and just hang with me here?
I
I
got you.
need as much help as I can, and I'm going to pull up a few other people that are looking to come on, and you can offer your insight because you have a lot of insights I don't. And like I've always said, the key to doing a good live or a good podcast is having people that are smarter than you, which I do every goddamn time. We have up with us now. I think it's Nani
It is.
052.
Hey, how are you
Hey,
guys?
doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm friends with Trucker and I saw him here and absolutely follow you along and
Thank
enjoy
you.
what you have to say. And I was like, okay, I got 2 people here. I need to come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm still reeling from the bill. I'm sorry. I think most people probably are.
Yeah. Well, somebody asked me one time, he said, what can we do to reverse this? And I simply said, nothing. Too fucking late. The bill's law now, and we got to wait till somebody else is in control and start piece by piece changing thing around. But we're stuck with this shit right now.
Right. And, people are talking about, well, it doesn't go into effect for another year. Yes, but I mean, these things have already started happening and falling into place. And I think that more things, I mean, yes, certain things are not going to happen until a year from now, but there are certainly, obviously, things happening today that are negatively impacting these, these programs, the SNAP, Medicaid, and it's just horrible. Trucker knows my daughter relies upon Medicaid as a help. She has brain cancer and has been dealing with this for quite a while. And so we deal with it personally. I'll just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of people out there. We're hearing about this, like down in Oklahoma. There's a lot of people that have different services, like down in Oklahoma, they have Sooner Care, and they love Sooner Care. What they don't know is it's Medicaid too. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be surprised if their Medicaid gets cut because they didn't think they were actually getting Medicaid when that's exactly what it is.
I did read about that. I read an article about that, about how so many states, they just call it something different. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like Obamacare. Oh, Affordable Care Act. People didn't understand that we're talking about the same things. But guess what? I'm not using that as any excuse. I'm not allowing that as any excuse. You
No,
voted for
no.
this, and I'm so angry, and I don't like who this has turned me into, because I've turned into like a bitter person, and I'd like to think I'm not, but now I'm kind of like, I see people hurting, and if I'm feeling joy because someone is feeling hurt because of the vote they made, that is not the place I want to be. But that's where I am right now. Sorry.
No, I get that. I get that. You don't want to take joy in other people's pain. But we've talked about this before. I think Trucker T and I have talked about it too. It's unfortunate, but it's like people in this country, before they wake up, they have to get their ass kicked. They got to get pinched in the ass before they realize what they did was wrong. And then they have to have the courage to admit they're wrong. And we're dealing with a cult of personality that has a lot of trouble with that. No matter what Donald Trump does, they love it, even though it's absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of people were like the folks in Germany in the 30s and 40s, where if it doesn't affect me, I'm cool. And I think a lot of people who voted for this were happy with other people getting injured, but when it hit them, their minds changed. And my thought of it was that okay, people are going to get hurt. There's no question about it. I'm much where if that's inevitable, I'm better off having it crash hard and quick so we can start to recover as opposed to having this languish for the next 3 years.
Well, I can tell you this, Mike. You're exactly right. It doesn't affect them until it affects them, right? You know, I
Yeah.
I was in a live today where they were arguing about this was an Indiana live, and they were like, as long as they don't take away my Hoosier health care or Hoosier Wise or whatever it's called, I'm okay. And I'm like, that is what Hoosier Wise is. It's Medicaid. And he didn't believe me, so he went and looked it up, and then he ended up getting off the live because it affected him right then and there. You know what I mean? Look at what's going on down in Texas, right? You got Cruz over in Greece. You got Trump eating hot dogs and shit on the golf course. They don't care because none of this is going to affect them in any way, shape, or form. Because none of this is going to affect them in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, I think we froze.
Yeah, sometime Mike. Oh, there you go.
The information didn't get to the people. It reminded me a lot of COVID. Remember, Donald Trump was bragging about how he got warp speed and he got the vaccines and stuff. But once he got them, he had no way to distribute them. They didn't really get distributed until Joe Biden took office. And the same thing is here. They cut a bunch of people and the information doesn't get out. And now we have more than 100 people that have died, and that's probably going to continue to grow. But when Donald Trump was asked if he thought those cuts were responsible for the deaths and the tragedy down there. This is what he said. I'm paraphrasing. because it really didn't make sense when he said it. He said, well, it's about the water. Joe Biden, and that was his answer. And that was his answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
what the fuck? He just
Well, he blamed Biden, and then he took it back and says, "Well, I wouldn't blame Biden either, but I blame Biden." What are you saying, bro? I mean,
He
you're
knows what he's doing.
you're the president of the United States. You can't make those statements.
Oh, he knows what he's
well,
doing.
Nani, I tell you this. A lot of people say he knows. I don't think he knows what he's doing, honestly. I mean, personalities like this, it's all emotional, it's all reactionary. He just says whatever he thinks can get him out of any given situation. I don't like giving him credit for knowing what he's doing because he wouldn't have fucked up this much if he had a specific plan. Even his most important strategies end up being fucked up. Don't give him credit for being smart. He's not smart. The people around him are smart and know how to manipulate him, but Donald Trump is a dumb motherfucker.
Yes, give Donald no credit. All right, I got to remember that. Thank you.
So you mean like when BB was
No,
at the table and stood up and gave him the? So you mean like when BB was
no.
at the table and stood up and gave him the awarded him for?
Oh, nominating him for the
Nomin-
Nobel?
yeah, he gave him the nomination that he presented to the club, and he was
Yeah,
just thrilled as pie that he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. But
yeah,
we
yeah.
have everything but peace right now.
Absolutely. Nani, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. You're more than
Thank you
welcome
so,
to come
so
back
much.
anytime.
Have a good night.
No problem.
Thanks,
You
Nani.
too. All right. I've got some other folks down here that we know, um, and we'll bring them up. This is Shell, and she was concerned because she wasn't getting the box or whatever to come up. But you're up now, Shell. So what's on your mind?
Thank you. If you need an extra moderator, I'm available for the rest of the evening. But I'd like to talk about the Los Angeles situation. Since most of the people you have on here talk about the national situation, I try to talk about the LA situation. Today we had the National Guard, the Marines, and ICE all converge on a park called MacArthur Park. And TJ Trucker T, sorry, mentioned it earlier. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background in regards to MacArthur Park. MacArthur Park is a large park in the middle of Los Angeles proper. MacArthur Park is a park you don't go to at night. Matter of fact, you don't go to MacArthur Park at dusk. It has a lot of nefarious characters there, drugs, um, professional women, all kinds of stuff like that. But during the day, there's street vendors, there's families, there's all kinds of people that are going around the park and doing the things that families normally do at parks, especially in the summer. It is an area that's predominantly Hispanic and predominantly African American. There was no protests there today. There was no reason for anybody to show up to do a show of force or performative acts of any kind. They went there for one reason. It's been quiet in Los Angeles. There hasn't been a lot of things happening. So they went there to do performative stuff. They wanted to reiterate that they feel like they're in charge. They're in charge of Los Angeles. And Mayor
Right.
Bass got right over there. She hasn't always been my favorite mayor. I did vote for her, but she's made a few mistakes with the subway and some other stuff that are concerning to me. But she has really stepped up her game like Governor Newsom has. They've really stepped up their game and they're really, really trying to handle this situation. They've been in front of the press. They've been doing live media events. They've really stepped up their actions in regards to the people of Los Angeles and California. She got down there right away and she said, "You guys can leave." And as I'm seeing it from people who live in the area, they left when she got there. They left. So that is a really good thing. But it was performative. It was no, we're still in charge. So I feel like, this is the type of situation that we're going to be going through every time it gets remotely quiet. They're going to try to remind us who's the boss.
Well, you make a good point. I just want to say something to people in the audience. Some people are saying there's no grid to ask to be on the show. I've got a number of people who have asked already. So if it doesn't seem apparent to you, I do have plenty of people that are asking about coming on the show. There's apparently some glitch with TikTok. Big fucking surprise. But don't worry, we'll get a bunch of people on. That won't be a problem. So Shell and Trucker T, here's what we've learned about it. You mentioned that this thing in MacArthur Park was performative. We're finding out it's all performative. We got this park was performative. We're finding out it's all performative. We got this serious about the tariffs was just for ratings and just for show. That's what you have to understand about Donald Trump, the effects after doing something. He's looking at how much it's going to impact what public opinion is going to be of him. And he's desperate to find different things. And he's desperate to find different things to improve his public opinion, especially now that it's going down shit. Everything out of there.
You're freezing, Mike.
And it's largely due to the fact that he's
There you go. You were froze for a little bit.
Mike,
I'm freezing.
yeah, you're going in and out.
Okay.
Yeah. If,
Really?
if that's true, Mike, no, you're good. If that's true, then he has to have the smallest ego in the world. There's no way you run a country off of ratings. I'm sorry.
No. Well, not even the smallest ego. He's got a big ego, but he is immensely insecure, as most narcissists. He's got a big ego, but he is immensely insecure, as most narcissists just cover for his insecurity. Mommy didn't love me. Daddy didn't love me. Everybody can't possibly find out what a fucking failure I am. He knows this in his head, and everything is this bombastic effort to hide his limitations and his deficiencies. He does it every time. I've seen that with other narcissists too. He is desperate now, and this is why I've said, you can fight. Everybody wants to fight against the Republicans and somehow take them down. I don't know that you have to do that anymore because it looks like they're going to take themselves down. They are going to constantly be at each other's throat, like with the Jeffrey Epstein thing or the tariff things or whatever. But the one thing I think we can do as a people, we can protest and we can yell and scream about the inequities of all the things they do. But I think the most important thing we do is embarrass the fuck out of them at every turn. Donald Trump and the Republicans point out their failures, point out their ridiculousness, because the mentalities of these people, when you make them out to be dumb or embarrass them, that's when they start to spin out of control.
So I said this the other night on Trucker T's Live. There was a local news channel, because I don't watch national news at all. There was a local news channel that did a story on what the levels were of detaining people in the United States. And they talked about Maryland being a big uprise. They talked about several other cities that had been a big uprise in detaining undocumented people in the United States. So when they got to Los Angeles is almost exactly the same as it was last year. So even with all of the performative actions that they're doing, even with all the extra National Guard, even with all the extra ICE raids, they're still at the same level in Los Angeles that Los Angeles was last year without all of this drama. The same, like within 100 people being detained. So as Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass were telling President Trump that this all wasn't necessary, we can handle this, the numbers say we are handling it. We have been handling it. You know, my street vendors are gone. My people who park on the end of the street and sell tacos, they haven't been back in weeks. There's a falafel truck that comes. I live in a predominantly Jewish area. There's a falafel truck that comes. They haven't been here in weeks. There's a recycling center that's across the way that lock, stock, and barrel is gone. They're
Yeah.
gone. And I don't envision that they're going to be coming back anytime soon.
No, I mean that's one thing we have to realize. They're not only doing damage to this country politically, economically, they're not only committing atrocities against innocent people, but they're destroying our culture. I mean, people would do certain things on the weekends or feel comfortable going outdoors, going to the beach, going to the parks, whatever. But now there's a lot of people out there that just don't feel comfortable with it. They're frightened of it. What Donald Trump has done to this country is virtually every level: economics, safety, and our culture. And I don't know if that's the intention of the people around him or not, but our culture is being seriously damaged. Everybody who's different in this country bring another thing culturally to the table. And now he's trying to push those people off the fucking table.
Yeah.
It's 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 very interesting to me that these people are trying to get rid of the very people that named this city. We have cities like Rancho Cucamonga, Santa
Yeah.
Monica, Los Feliz, and it's not Los Feliz, it's Los Feliz. It's a Spanish name. The names of the cities, Los Angeles, the names of the city in Southern California and all over California are Spanish names. There's no other way
Yeah.
to look at it. That's the foundation of our state, no matter what you want to think it is.
Yeah. Not only, Mike, is he taking away our culture, he's taking away our way of life. Like right now, we're living in
Yeah.
Stephen Miller reality. You know what I mean? This is what Stephen Miller wants. He wants the world to fear him. He finally gets his get back from being bullied as a kid, and he's taking it out on the world. And it's really sad.
Yeah, it is. And it explains why uh, the one date that Stephen Miller was able to get is now left with Elon Musk. So if you want to live that lifestyle where nobody likes you and you're kind of creepy, well, then buy into this whole Trump the fuck thing. I'm going to pull somebody else up here, Shell. You just stay where you are. Shell, when
Okay.
you mentioned Rancho Cucamonga, it reminded me of something. I I like the name Cucamonga. It's just got a weird spin to it. And and I was playing with my granddaughter, and when I had my kids and my granddaughter, I always have nicknames for them. I call them 100 different nicknames all the time. And I was looking at my granddaughter, and I said, "Come on, get out of the car." And she wouldn't do it. I said, "Bring it out, you Cucamonga kid." And she looked at
Oh,
me like I just swore at her. And she ran over to Grandma and said, Grandpa called me the Cucamonga Kid, which means nothing, but called me the Cucamonga Kid, which means nothing, but anyway,
she's
has nothing to
she's
do with
she's
has
sharp as a
nothing to do
tack,
with
that
anything
one.
else. She is very sharp. She scares me sometimes. All right, here's a woman we have on the program all the time. Oliver's mom. Now, just get ready, Oliver's mom. I'm going to try to squeeze you out, pull you out, so that you talk a little bit. I know you're a little shy, but
Um,
go,
yeah, well, I
go.
was looking up. You were talking about Medicaid in different states, and I just looked it up. I pulled it up, and less than half of the states actually call it Medicaid. You were saying that I think Oklahoma calls it sooner aid or sooner care. So
Yeah,
if these people are
right,
saying that they're not losing their Medicaid because it's called something different, they just don't get
right,
it. They're not educated. They don't understand. I mean, less than half the country actually calls it Medicaid, and
right,
that's crazy that they're not seeing that. They're not realizing that, and they probably just on that alone voted against their interests by voting you know, for who we have right now. I mean, it's sad.
Right.
In the state of California,
Well,
we call
it
it
is sad.
Medi-Cal.
Yes, yeah, it's on here. I mean,
And ignorance is no excuse of the law.
right. Yeah. I mean,
And ignorance is no excuse of the law.
right. Yeah.
Healthcare in order, your family's health on before you open your orange fucking mouth.
Yeah. And you're freezing up again, Mike, just so you know.
Well, still, I'm freezing up again.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird. The Wi-Fi here is a little weird. So the folks know I'm in Georgia at this point, and I'm my wife is not feeling well. She's in the condo, and I'm in a pool room building, nice building. Wi-Fi is a little funky at times, so I don't know. So I've been trying to go with just the cell line, and we do the best we fucking can. We've already got 45 minutes
That's
into
right.
this. Oh, look, here's Rebecca's joining us.
Hey, Mike.
It's good to
Hi,
have
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, how you doing?
doing? I'm good.
I'm guessing TJ thought I was talking 9:30 Central Time.
Yeah, he's about to jump on right now. Liam is also
no
in the
problem.
house, literally in our house, so he'll be jumping on too.
Well, we
Yay.
we got to this point safely, and I made Shell point safely, and I made Shell a moderator too, so she can hatchet some of these Trumplefucks. Got one other person that we hear from frequently, and everybody. Oh man, if I can get her to come up. This is technically this particular live is a lot different than I usually have. We have a lot less people in here, which is probably a good thing to keep the
So,
Yeah,
Mike,
also
we had a big
If not-
we had a big party here
Okay.
for July 5th. Well, July 5th party.
Go ahead.
So we had a big party here, and we spent
Heard.
half the time that during this party and the day after when we had people over also, like just talking you up. So you may have a bunch of new followers soon.
I appreciate that, and I don't know if I'm telling girls out of school that TJ basically said you're a slave driver and you worked him to the bone this weekend. Is that true?
No. He we do equal amount
I
of
had a
work.
feeling.
I literally
I had a
I
feeling.
cooked for 3 days. Like we had at least there was at least 75 people here. So we cooked for 3 days. He does like he sets everything up and does like the smoker stuff. So and I make all the sides and all the like everything else. So but
So
it
you
was
pretty
good. It
much
went
did
well.
all the work, and TJ just fucking lounged around, right? Oh, TJ's here,
No,
so
no,
that's
no,
good.
no. He does not lounge around. Yeah.
She's bullshitting you.
So what's up,
I
TJ?
I do all the work. She's bullshitting you.
Hey,
I do-
TJ.
I said you did.
Wow, you're
you
brave.
do all the
You're
freaking
brave.
setup and all the work.
Yeah, well, yeah, I heard about the party. It sounded like it was a wild one, which doesn't surprise me. Since TJ and Rebecca are here, we got a lot of stuff in the news that is just fucking ridiculous. What's going on?
I'm having a little connectivity problem here. Hang on a second.
Yeah, Mike is too. Mike, you're freezing left and right.
Yeah, I've been really. You know what I'm going to do? This sounds crazy, but I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to redo it because we're getting now that we have everybody on board. We'll do this live, But I'm going to stop. I'm going to reset, and then I'm going to do the live again, if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, we're
That
good with
works
that.
for me.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good with me.
All right, let's do that. So we'll do this. I don't know what's going to happen with this particular one, but we're dumping this live, and we got another one coming up. So if you're out there, don't go away. Hopefully the technical problems will resolve themselves.